We do want to stay on this story, and for that I want to bring in Nazanin Noor. She is an Iranian American actor, writer, and activist. Nazanin, thank you so much for joining us again. We appreciate your time.
Thank you so much, Arthi.
Okay, so as someone with a deep connection to the community, what more are you hearing about the poisoning of hundreds of schoolgirls, which has accelerated in Iran?
Well, everybody is now referring to them as chemical attacks because that's what they are. I have received messages from people whose own family members or extended family members have been experiencing what's going on. It is now also spread to dormitories, so it's not just classrooms that are being attacked. Just yesterday and the night before, there were dormitories that were attacked while schoolgirls were sleeping. And so there's countless videos online by activist groups such as 1500 Tasfir that show all the girls out at night, sprawled out. Some people are coughing, some people are screaming that they can't breathe. And so what we need is the world community, the global community, to actually step in and pressure the Islamic regime to actually do something to actually stop this.
And to that point, today, the Office of the United Nations High Commissioner for Human Rights has called for a transparent investigation into these incidents, which we know have been taking place for months now. What sort of accountability would you like to see, and are you hopeful that that will happen?
I'm not hopeful, and neither are Iranians, that allowing the Islamic regime to actually conduct this investigation will give us the truth. It's kind of like asking a hate group like the KKK to investigate a hate crime. We're not going to get to the bottom of the actual issue. We need an independent investigation from an outside source to actually get to the truth, because it's very hard to believe, Arthi. What we have to understand is that this is a regime that employs facial recognition technology. And I know people who have received tickets in the mail in Iran because their headscarf was worn improperly while they were driving. These are people that were able to capture Iranian rapper Tumaj Salehi and place him in solitary confinement. They have eyes and ears everywhere, especially around schools. Girls' schools are not easy to get into. You can't loiter around without arousing some sort of suspicion. So it's very hard for anyone to believe that the Islamic regime does not know who's behind these attacks or has any type of clue what type of group are behind these attacks. And so the conclusion that we have to draw is that they're complicit in these crimes and these chemical attacks on these schoolgirls.
You know, while there have been some conflicting reports in terms of what exactly the context was in terms of some of the comments made by officials, we know Iran's deputy health minister had said that it appears that the poisonings were deliberate attempts at targeting and shutting down girls' schools. What do you make of that?
Well, I believe from what I heard from reports was that he actually walked back those statements. So that seems to be pressure from the Islamic regime. The interior minister just a couple of days ago, I believe, also said something along the lines of, most of these incidents of women and the girls in hospitals are from anxiety and stress related to studying in school, and that he believes foreign terrorists have intervened somehow and are gassing Iran's schoolgirls. So it's a lot of lies. They're trying to create a lot of confusion. I believe they're trying to look for a way to maybe distance themselves from this, but the truth remains that they're clearly complicit. These attacks have been going on for months now. They've intensified and ramped up over the last couple of weeks. And there is no way that in a country, again, that has eyes and ears everywhere, that a group of people would be able to, go forward with these chemical attacks without the government having some clue of what's going on.
You know, and to your point about how these attacks have expanded, or the poisonings, we know that they've occurred in dozens of high schools in several cities across different provinces. You pointed to dormitories as well. We know that videos on social media and reports by activists suggest 20 schools, at least 20 schools in 3 cities were targeted just on Wednesday alone. So ramping up of this. What sort of impact is that having on those who are living in Iran, the families who are there, and the resolve that we know has sustained them for months now in these demonstrations and protests?
I mean, it's of course terrifying to know, as a parent especially, that you're sending your child to school somewhere that's supposed to be safe and that they are at risk of a chemical attack most likely from the government. So the resolve has actually strengthened. It seems the more that the government clamps down with the repression and oppression of their people, it's not making people falter or waver in their goal, which is the downfall of the Islamic Republic. I did want to point out one thing too as well, Arthi. I believe I heard that nobody has died from these attacks, but it has been reported that there's an 11-year-old girl named Fatima Rezai who may be the first victim of these chemical attacks. There's been conflicting reports because it's said that her family has been pressured to stay silent, which is classic Islamic regime behavior. When they kill somebody's child or loved one, they pressure the family to either lie on television, some sort of forced confession. So we're not quite sure what's going on there, but unfortunately, there may have already been a death.
And no question that part of the challenge here, of course, is getting credible information about what exactly is happening on the ground. Again, we very much appreciate your time and this discussion today.
Thank you so much.